Hello, I'm Stephen Garret, death coach and author of When Death Speaks, Listen, Learn, and Love. What you'll learn from this little clip is that sometimes approaching a difficult topic like death is the best way to go. Most North American families are in denial and frightened about death. So when death is imminent or looming or present, or the prognosis of a loved one isn't good, we tend to back away from the conversation about death and dying, when really we should step into it. Let me give you a short story about a family who were in exactly that situation. Mom was diagnosed as having 2 weeks to 6 weeks to live. She had bad cancer in her whole body. She had huge tumors. It was just a real tough time for the family. And yet, though death was so painfully obvious, nobody in the family but one daughter was willing to talk about it. Well, the daughter was struggling. Every time she brought the topic of death up, the family shut down, or they fought, or they got into these disagreements and pushed it away. Nobody wanted to talk about the wills, all that kind of stuff. So she phoned me. She said, I need a hand. Can you come and help my family have a conversation about death that's going to bring us closer together and move forward with the process my mom's going through? And I said, certainly. So I joined the family at the dinner table one night. And the mom came and sat down. I said hello and called her by name and loved her up a little bit. The husband sat down. The other daughter sat down, and the client I was working with sat down with me. I took a deep breath because I was going to broach a topic that was very hard for them, and I wanted to do it compassionately. So I took a deep breath in and exhaled, and I looked right at the woman who was dying. I said, so, guess what? We're going to have a conversation about your impending death tonight. I know that's hard for you. She had a bit of a reaction, and she was frightened, but I said, and it's going to be all right. We're going to work through it. I spoke with the husband a little bit and said the same thing. I said, how is it for you watching your wife die in front of you? And he had a little tear in his eye, and he didn't say very much. But we'd begun the conversation. This other sister was very tight and almost angry, and I asked how it was for her watching her mom die in front of her eyes, and she said it was very tough. And I said, well, I'm glad we've started talking about this topic, and we're going to continue for the next half hour. So with as much love and with a little bit of humor and with a lot of intensity and direction, we spoke about death and dying. We spoke about the mom's death and dying and what could be done to prepare for it, how they could prepare for a celebration of life, how they could prepare the care directives, how they could prepare the wills, all that kind of stuff. We just had a good old tableside chat about it. Surprisingly enough, once we got into the topic more fully, the family breathed and relaxed because they all knew that Mom was dying. They were just afraid to talk about it. But now that the conversation had begun, the family could relax into the knowingness that Mom was passing. And though it may be sad, they could prepare her passing in a way that would be more graceful, more loving, and actually a bit more fun. Family from all around came. They said their goodbyes. They wrote cards. They had a really good time sharing memories. And had the family not had the courage to have the conversation at that dining room table that night, it would have been a very different celebration of life. So when death does speak and when death does come knocking on your door, the best thing to do, though it may be the hardest thing to do, is sit down and have a good old conversation about it with as much love as you can muster, a bit of humor, and a lot of reality.